Hello, welcome to the Billy Huffsey podcast. I got a very good friend of mine, so talented, somebody that I looked up to, even though we're the same age. We boxed at the same time here in Navy Park. We fought in the amateurs together. Mr. Ray Boom Boom Mancini. Ray, good to see you.
Billy, good to see you, my brother.
Oh my
It's been a
God.
minute, man. It's been a minute since I've seen you, man.
It's been a while, but our passes, we were meant to be buddies
Yeah,
because
yeah,
our passes kept crossing.
yeah,
So tell me about the when you were a kid though, because your dad was a boxer, my dad was a
yeah.
boxer. So how did all that work? Did he encourage you?
Well, Bill, it's funny because everyone always says you were a fighter because of your father. I say yes and no. Yes, because that I wanted to be my father. He was everything I wanted to be as a man, as a father, as a husband, as a fighter. Everything I wanted to be.
That's
But
awesome.
he's the one who tried to talk me out of it in the worst way. He's the one, I when I was in school and we were talking about amateurs and I was talking about can't wait, he's still said, okay. When the time comes, when the time comes. So when the time came, then I found out about the Junior Olympics. I didn't know there was junior. I found out they were in Cleveland, and we didn't have any of that around here. I was 15, and I started going to the gym. I heard about it. I wanted to enter the Junior Olympics, and then I started going to the gym, the local gym, and the trainer was a good friend of my father's, and we had a lot of good gyms at the time. But my father recommended I go see this guy and train at his gym, and so I was my first fight as an amateur was in the Junior Olympics. So when you go through the amateurs, and then I fought 3 years in the amateurs. But the point being is, though, it was okay. But when I said I wanted to turn pro, he sat me down. I said, Raymond, I had to fight. It was depression. I had to eat. My father had a third grade education, and he was out on the street working. Because my great grandfather, had the horse and wagon selling whatever they were selling. Vegetables and fruits. And my father used to go with them. So my father was working on the street, since he was 3. Then the truth, when he was 10, his uncles used to take him out and they bet on him to fight any kid in the neighborhood. And they'd say, his uncles would say, my nephew could beat any kid here. My father was 10 years old. He was fighting kids 15, 16 years old and kicking their shit out of them. So there was it was like human cockfighting. That's what it was. So my father started in amateurs, and then he started fighting. He was 15, and then he fought. Then he went into 3C camps. The 3C Civil Conservation Corps, right? Which meant you get a job. You work for the state or the city or the state, and you build roads or you build right. Well, they sent him to Ely, Nevada. 15 years old, they put him on a train, sent him to Ely, Nevada, where he was building highways. While he was there, they would do these little smokers. So he was fighting men. He was 15, 16 years old, fighting men in their 20s and winning. So when he came back and he went back in the amateurs, he never told him because he fought under a different name, so nobody would ever know. My point being this, he had a hard life, but that was the life he had.
Yeah.
So I tell people, my father is, my third grade education, but my greatest life teacher ever.
Awesome.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
He had a master's doctorate in life.
Yes.
So when I wanted to be a fighter, he said, Raymond, I had to fight with depression. You got so many other opportunities. I didn't have, academics as well, athletic scholarship to go to college. I had other professional baseball offer. I had other opportunities. And I said, no, Dad, I want to do this. I want to do this, win that title for you. So that was my whole construct to fight, is to win that title for him, And I did this since I was a little boy, since day one. So what was he going to say? And the fact that I was able to fulfill that and live out my dream is the greatest thing in the world for me. You know what I mean? So
I love that. We'll get with that, but that I'm gonna circle around on that.
Yeah.
Because we both loved and respected our dads. I got that. I feel for you when you're talking because I got the same thing, and I appreciate you by that. You didn't play many other sports though as a kid.
No. I played all the sports. I played Little League baseball, little Pop Warner football. I played baby basketball, and I was a good athlete. I was a good, all well-rounded athlete, and that's why I was getting up when I was a sophomore. I mean, when I went to high school, I was starting tailback and defensive back and freshman on the and even on the JV team, and I dressed for varsity. And going into my junior year, I was the starting tailback in the number one slot because the two guys ahead of me were seniors. They both graduated.
Sure.
So this is a true story. It's been told a few times. So I was practicing during the summer, right? Now, you know, high school football in Northeast Ohio. It's everything.
It is.
You know, other than I think Texas, Oklahoma area, you know, Northeast Ohio, Pennsylvania is number one hotbed for football and college recruits and things like that.
Yes.
So I was a $132, and I was going to tell back, and my football coach took me and said, "Ray, you got to hit the weights." I said, because I was starting to tell. I said, "Hit the weights. I got to make weight." You know? and he said, "Well," I said, "Nah, you know, his name was Mr. Butchie." I said, "Mr. Butchie, I'm going to focus on being a fighter. I always want to be a fighter. I play football because I love the sport, but
yes,
football is what I wanted to do."
Yeah.
And I'll never forget. Is any typical high school coach that gives you that rah-rah, "What? You can't go nowhere as a fighter? You're going to get punch drunk." Yeah. Yeah. You're going to get punch drunk. You can't make it. Don't do nothing as a fighter.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm going to do. Now, the funny thing, you laugh, right? We were at my high school Hall of Fame a couple years ago, and they had me as a guest. And I was telling, and he was being honored. And I told that story, and it was laughing. He's like, but they don't get it. There was something deep inside me that came out. I said, "Mr. Butchie, you don't understand. I've been waiting all these years to tell you. I don't do nothing small. I walk big, I talk big, I live big. I don't do nothing small." Because he said, "Well, maybe we'll get you a scholarship, not to a big college, but some small college." But, you know, and I told, you know, but the thing that got me the most, and I love the guy. Don't get me wrong. He's passed away since, God rest his soul.
Sure.
The point I'm trying to say is when you're in high school, you're looking for affirmation. High school coaches are supposed to give you affirmation. Like, "Hey, kid, you know what? I'm behind you." I had one coach who did that, Mr. Stoops. Mr. Stoops was the father of Bobby Stoops, Mike Stoops, Bobby Stoops, coach of Oklahoma. I grew up, they lived on the next street over. We went to grade school, high school together.
Yeah.
And their father was my high school, he was one of my high school football coach, but he was also my high school baseball coach. And he said to me, "Ray, you do your sport, you do your fighting," because that was when the amateur tournaments are during the spring, during baseball. When you're done, you come out and you play. Don't worry about it.
Right.
And I always appreciate it. But but after that, he came to me one day and he saw that I was in the gym. I was working out because I gave up, football. And I was during school, one of my periods I had, it was like a hall pass, like you get to go to the study hall.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd go to the gym. Anyhow, he said to me, "Ray, so you're going to give up football?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "So you're going to you want to be a fighter?" He said, "Sir." "And you want to be a world champion?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Then you go and get that title for us, and you make us proud." I tell you, Billy, it was the greatest thing in the world. And I tell people, I tell sons this, and I tell them, I love that man forever because he gave me the affirmation I needed. He was the only one. Wow. You know how many other coaches? Now, since then, after everything, you know how many coaches want to take credit? I told the kid he was never going to make it. I told the kid he was going to get punched drunk. You know how many people want to take I couldn't believe it. How many guys want to take credit for that story? I said, Who would want to take credit for telling a kid he ain't going to make it? Who would want to take credit for telling a kid you can't do nothing? You look like a jerk off. Why would you want to take credit for that? 3 or 4 different coaches that I had. I was beating. I told her, no, it was the one guy I said. But it baffled me. Well, why would you want to take credit for that story, right? It makes no sense. You want to be the guy that say, "Hey, I told the kid he could make it. I told the kid to go for it." No, I told the kid he ain't gonna make it. Yeah.
I got that. I got that in show business.
Of course.
You can't act. You can't sing.
My son's an actor,
Uh-huh.
and he was a special athlete in high school, but he had a severe brain injury senior playing football. We should have played soccer. Was one of his probably best work, and his mother being Cuban, his father being Italian, he got invited as a 10-year-old for the U.S. Pre-Olympic teams and stuff. But football, he played football. He said, now he's a big football soccer fan. All the leagues, and he said, "Pop, I wish I'd have stuck with soccer." Yeah, but you can't live like that. Live with what if, should have, could have, would have. So when I told him, I said, when he was in high school, I said, "What are you going to do, man? You got to figure this out." "Well, I'll figure it out." "Well, you ain't going to sit there doing nothing. You better figure this out." So, but after 3 months or 4 months, I said, "Oh, what are you going to do?" He said, "Pop, I'm not you. I don't know what I want to do since I was 5 years old." Billy, that hit me like really like
Yeah.
a gut punch.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't understand. Now I understood. I always knew what I wanted. I couldn't understand
Mhm.
a kid, my baby, who didn't know what he wanted because
Mhm.
what he thought it was going to be was a college athlete, going to college for football, basketball, whatever it was, to play sports. Now it was over because he had the brain injury and it shut him down. So after a couple months, I said, "Well, all right, babe, we'll figure it out together." So after about a month later, he said, "Pop, I know what I want to be. I want to be an actor. Be an actor."
Yeah.
Well, he was my shy. I have 3 kids. He was like the shy. He was very much his mother's spirit.
Yeah.
I said, "You want me that?" Because we used to always go to movies all the time. I said, "Beautiful." He said, "Pop, could you help me find an acting school?" I said, "Yeah." So we got to Santa Monica Acting School, right near where we lived. He went there for years. He went to a master's program. Now he's been doing it for years. He's been on stage. He's been up for awards on stage. He's done several independent films, and I'm so proud. But he's doing it now. He ain't where he's gonna be. He ain't where he wants to be, but he's doing it. And Bill, how hard it is to get it. Now, COVID killed a lot of things. It killed a lot of business, but actually it helped the independent film business. The one business that did help was that, right? But what it did help was a lot of these guys now can't get agents because people say, "Well, we can't get work for people that we have. We can't get work for our clients already." Well, what does that mean? You don't think nobody knew?
Right.
Is that as stupid as that? You got a kid on a climb, you can't take a shot?
Right.
It's so the business is so skewed right now, it's so screwed up. I don't know, but independent film is thriving. It ain't surviving, it's thriving. So
we'll get that. We'll get into that as well. Let's tap into the boxing thing. So you finished as an amateur, and then you turned pro.
Yeah. And
how long was it, and how many fights did you have before you got an opportunity for the big one?
Well, the funny thing is, Billy, back in the day, guys were 40, 50 fights, but there were so many fighters at that time. And so I was 15-0, and then I got my first opportunity. No, I was 15-0, right? And I got my first opportunity to fight at the Felt Forum in New York, underneath the Garden. If you do well at the Felt Forum, then you have opportunity to go to the main, to the big place, the big upstairs. But you got to become an attraction first. So I had my first opportunity to headline the show. Now this is right after my brother passed away. My brother died Valentine's of '81, and a couple after we buried him, I went to New York. I told my manager, "Give me a fight right away." And my trainer told me, I said, "Give me a fight right away. Griff, give me a fight." So Murphy Griffith was my trainer, and Dave Wolf was my manager. And Griff told him, "Dave, give him a fight. I got to see if this kid still got it, see where his head's at." So 3 weeks later, I get offered to fight the headline at the Felt Forum in New York. So I'm the main event, and it's March 12th, I think. And they've had me fighting a guy named Norman Goins from Indianapolis, Indiana. Now, Norman Goins was a contender, good puncher, big puncher. He's on the way down. I'm on the way up, so it's the right time to meet. Let's see where I'm at. Yeah. And so we fight. A lot of people thought we were crazy for taking the fight because he was such a big puncher. And they said, "Well, if my head's not right, I'm going to get hurt." Well, that's what Griff wanted. He wanted to see where my head was at. So I went out there. The first round, we have a war. Second round, boom, boom, boom. Boom, I hit him with a left hook on the chin. He goes down. And then he don't get up. Boom, I win. And I'll never forget Don Dunphy, very famous boxing announcer from Madison Square Garden for over 40 years.
Yeah.
"The young Ray Mancini makes an auspicious debut." And I said to my manager, "Auspicious?" I said, "What's that mean?" I said, "I'm assuming good, right?" He says, "Yeah, it's very good."
Yeah.
So from there, I get an offer. Now this is March 12th. I get an offer to fight April 2nd on ESPN. So now I go USA Cable, which is, I don't know if it was national at the time. It became national, but it might have been just regional at that time. I don't remember for sure. But then ESPN, which is national, right? And it's a tie night in Chicago, and Vito Antuofermo, former middleweight champ, he was his first comeback from losing his title, and he's going to fight be the main event, and I'm going to semifinal. And I fight a guy who was the champion of Canada, L. Ford. So we go out there, and I go out, and boom, and I drop L. Ford in the 4th round. Right, he gets up, but we battle. He goes, he battles me, toe to toe. Goes all 10 rounds. I win by unanimous, but it was a terrific, very exciting fight.
Right.
From there, the networks, CBS says, "Hey, we like what we see. We want to offer this kid a fight May 16th." Now, Billy said, so March, April, now this is May on CBS. So I go from cable to regional cable to now national cable, now to network. And that's when I fought Jorge Morales for the NABF lightweight championship, North American lightweight championship. But at that time, I had some cachet. At that time, if you win the North American title, it got you in line to fight for the WBC title.
Mm-hmm.
And so I go out and we fought up at upstate New York in the Concord Hotel. I've trained up and went to training camp for my first training camp. So that was wonderful. You read about all the guys, all 30 years I used to read about these guys going up to the Catskill Mountains. Now I go to Catskill Mountains, so I'm living the dream, right? I'm paying the dues like these guys. All my heroes used to do, right?
Yeah.
And then I fight Jorge Morales on CBS, and I stopped him in 9 rounds, and that was the start. So Billy, my brother dies tragically in February, March, April, May. So I would say God takes and God gives you. He took my brother, but he gave me open doors for my career. And I don't know, in some strange way, I believe the hand of God's on it because I was frustrated in how getting fights. It was hard to get fights for me. I couldn't get a break to get on any big cards. So the opportunity arose after that.
That's awesome. Yeah, well, we definitely don't want to question God. That's for sure. Yeah. We don't do that. No. And God bless your brother. Ray, I never knew that, and I know you for 35 years. We've been longer. Crazy. Yeah. But that and then you got the title in
so that then I defended NBAF title in July. Okay. Because the number 3 contender, Jose Luis Ramirez, who had already fought the lightweight champ, now is Alexis Arguello. I loved Alexis. He was one of my favorite fighters to watch on the way up. I remember when he won the featherweight title, beating Ruben Olivares. I remember when he beat Alfredo Escalera for the junior lightweight title on ABC World of Sports. Now I see him when he beat Jim Watt for the lightweight title. And when he fought Jim Watt, I thought, wow, he won, but he didn't look that good doing it. But that's no disrespect because nobody looks good against Jim Watt. Jim Watt makes everybody look bad, But let's beat him. But I just thought, I I could beat this guy. He ain't gonna be stronger than me. I could beat this guy. I'm gonna jump on him. I'll beat all this. Yeah. So you train, go up to training camp. It's a heck of a training camp. And but here's what I tell the story too. This goes to show you with fighters. We do the press conference in New York. We do the press conference, and after the press conference, I'm driving up to the Catskill Mountains. He's going to the Catskill. He's going to train at a different hotel. I'm training at the Grossingers, very famous, where all the great fighters trained at. From Joe Louis, Rocky Marciano was a fit to all the greats. Yes. Duran was a favorite up there, trained up there all the time. So we're up in the morning at the press conference, but I get up, I'm going to do road work in Central Park. So I get up and do road work. And as we're running, my guy says, Ray, Arguello's coming the other way. So Arguello's coming this way, I'm running this way. We're going to pass each other, right? So now I'm getting my game face on. As we start to pass, I look up and goes, hey, Ray, how you doing? I want, round 1 Arguello. Meaning, you think Alexis was just a gentleman all the time. And meaning, you don't have to put on the pretenses at a press conference or anything. Right. He's a gentleman. It was just it's a sport. We're both going after the same thing, but there's no reason. And that's what I loved about Alexis. He was the true epitome of a champion inside, outside the ring. He was everything good about boxing. You know what I mean?
I like that.
But I really thought I could beat it. So I tried a great training camp. And if it's Billy, that's why the true championship distance, we talked about this. The true championship distance is 15 rounds, not 12. Yeah. Any 10-round fighter will go 12. Any 10-round fighter. You can get out the last 2 rounds if need be.
That's it.
Very few go 15. And I tell you, it's 15 rounds. if it's 12 rounds, I'm world champion. I'm beating him after 12.
Yeah.
I'm beating him. But at the end of the 12th round, but he caught me on the chin. Right, I made him miss 100 right hands because I knew he had that big right hand. He'd set up. He would hold it. He would just box one couple rounds with like just left hand hook jab. He would do anything. That right hand just did it, and then we see the opening, he'd drop it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I made him miss 100 right hands, but it only takes one. It only takes one.
Oh.
And and what I see later on when I saw the tape, I was on his chest, smothering him, banging that body, pushing him back. You know, he couldn't know what to do with me. But little by little, as the fight was going on, he was separating himself, creating distance. And by the end of that 12th round, he threw that right hand and he clipped me right on the chin and dropped me to one knee. I got right up. Was that then? But I was hurt. Then I caught myself, and then the bell rang. Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God, right?
Yeah.
Round, I move a little, and I attack. I'm in and out on him, moving in and out on him. 14th round, I jump right on him. I'm banging him, backing him up, but he keeps his composure. That's the great thing with Les. He never lost his composure. And then he hit me again, hit me with a left hook on the chin, and hit me, dropped me again. I got up. I was hurt, but the referee Tony Perez stopped it, rightfully so. It hurt like a son of a gun and I win the title. You know, everything, my lifelong dream.
Yes.
But the one thing it taught me is after that, I knew I'd be world champion after that. I knew I fought one of the greatest fighters of all time, and I was beating him.
Yes.
So I wasn't, which is why the true championship distance is 15 rounds, not 12.
Mm-hmm.
And but that fight taught me more than all the 20 wins before that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so after that, I said, I know I'm a champion because I fought one of the greatest, and I was just, you know. And then when you watch the tape, you see the mistakes you made. You realize, that's why he's so great. He was doing little subtle things to create space. And then, when the time was right, he caught me in the end of the fight.
He was a real nice guy. I met him as well, and I like the idea of the old school fighters. You know, you and me, we're fighting, and after the bell, we got to hug it out because
of course
we put it all down. That's the wonderful thing about fighting.
Billy, that's the thing about the difference. People say, what's the difference between now and then? I said, then my father used to get upset when he used to watch these guys got to, why they got to say something? Just shake their hand because back then it was a sport. They understood. We're gonna go to war. We're gonna do battle. Yes, but we ain't gonna call each other names. So I see people say to me, did it ever bother you when the guy said no? Didn't mean nothing because when the bell rings, you're gonna see me all night long. I'm gonna be in your face all night long. So what does it mean? You're gonna have to fight me. Doesn't matter what you say. So, so that was the one thing. After that, I knew I'd be a champion, and then I had 2 fights in between. And then, but the one thing I'm proud of, Billy, is look at the fights I steadily. I fought. My brother passed in February, March, April, May. Then I had my first North American title defense in July. I fought Aguayo in October, and then I come back and I fought in December. I came right back to fight in December. Yes. And then I fought in January the following year. Yes. And then I got another title fight in May of '82. Okay. Against Arturo Frias. And Arturo was a strong guy, tough guy, son of a gun, and good fighter. And I just, Alexis already moved up. He was out of the weight class. Art wins the title. But I felt I was too strong for Art. I just felt, after being with Alexis, I felt confident that no matter what I fought, ain't nobody stopping me now. Right. I fought my way back to another title shot. I ain't losing this one. So,
yes. So then you defended it from '82 to '84.
That's it. That's again, Billy. One of the things I tell people I'm most proud about my career. Yes. And from May of '82 to June of '84, in 24 months, I had 7 title defenses. 7. That's one every 3 months. And I'm saying only because, but a lot of guys were doing that back then. That Marvin Hagler, Ray, we were fighting all the time. Yes. Nowadays, these guys ain't had 7 fights in 7 years. I know. I mean, it's ridiculous. I know. It makes no sense. See, that's why I tell people nowadays the fighters, good fighters, but they make a good bigger money, and God bless them, they don't have to fight as often. But there's no sustainability. There's no legacy. They leave no legacy.
Right.
When these guys retire, people ain't remember their names 10 minutes from now.
Yeah. Well, you definitely have a legacy. Everybody that, and Ray, you and I, I want to touch a little bit on. You went to Hollywood, and we crossed paths there. And I'm going to congratulate you because you're one of those guys like Alexis that is a class dude, always a gentleman. And as, at our age, that's more important than anything. And
you ain't cared. You know, I tell people that as I gotten older, as we've gotten older, I tell people I'm more appreciative of people think more the character, my content of my character than anything I've accomplished.
Right on.
You know what I mean?
And you're a good dude. Tell me, so then you go to Hollywood, you mess around a little bit with Hollywood.
Here's what happened. You know, at that time, from 1983, when I was in the middle of being the champion, I've been represented by William Morris Agency. Now, first of all, I didn't know what the hell William Morris Agency was. I met an agent. I was a judge at the Ultimate Showgirl contest in Las Vegas. They invited me. Sure, why not? So I had a great time doing that, you know. And then, so I got a gentleman named Jeff Witches, who was an agent at William Morris.
I know Jeff. I know. That's
he
funny.
introduced himself to me. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know William Morris Agency. I was not educated about the entertainment business. I don't know.
Yes.
You know. So I thought, who are these people? So my lawyer looked, oh yeah, it's a real company. And so Jeff represented me for appearances, cameos and TV shows or whatever. Appearances, boxing commentary. I worked for every major network while I was fighting, you know. Mm-hmm. So, and then when the last fight, I guess when I lost the title to Livingstone Bramble in June of '84, we had the rematch in '85, and I really thought I won that fight. It was a war, but he won a split decision. He got the split decision win again, but I lost. I had no love for it no more. I had no love for it. So Jeff said, "Well, what do you want to do?" I said, "I want to get in the entertainment business. I want to try. I mean, I don't know. Like anything, I didn't know much about it, but I want to give it a shot. And so he said, "Well, you got to be where the action is. You got to be. It's like when I went to New York. Got to be where the action is, right?" So I went to LA. It seemed like a good idea at the time. I was able to do it, and I moved out there. And one of the best things that ever happened to me. I enjoyed. I was out there for 30 years. Right on. And but early on, I was doing. So I was having a great time. First 2 years, I was having a great time. We're doing these celebrity cruises. I think and you meet yourself. But I was having a great time. And you meet girls from the TV shows. You start dating girl actresses of these soap operas and shit, or TV shows. Beautiful. So I'm living a dream. Yes. And I'm going up for auditions. And then I did a couple TV movies and a couple TV shows. But finally, I said to myself, I want to do this, but I want to do this. I want to, every time I went in, I realized early on, oh, you're the fighter that's acting. Okay. So they pigeonhole you very quickly, as you know better than me. Yes. And I learned that. I didn't, so there's a couple, and I became friends with a couple of actors, Mickey Rourke being one of them. And Mickey, I love him dearly. Yeah. And finally I said, look, Mickey, I want to do what you do. I want to do the art. He goes, Raymond, if you want to do what I do, he said, you got to study, you got to train for like you did for a fight, as a fighter. You got to train for it. Right. I said, well, I'm willing to do it. Can you help me find an acting coach? It's like like a trainer. Can you recommend somebody? Right. And he said, let me help you out. I said, and he come back and he said, I got a name for a guy. I said, this guy is everyone's recommending him, one of the hottest acting teachers, and his name was Howard Fine. Good friend of mine. And I studied with Howard. And I studied with Howard for years. Yes. And I studied privately with him. And then I went to, his acting class. But one thing as well as you study the method. Yes. The Stanislavski method. And for people who don't know, the Stanislavski method is not for everyone. Most people definitely got to go to therapy when they're done with it. Really. But thank God, I'm able to say most people got to go to therapy afterwards. You go to acting class, when you're in acting class, you get somebody, when you get criticism, you get an actor, a young actor, and actress. They don't think I'm not any good. My parents thought I was no good. I tried to be an actor and it proved it, and I'm worth something. I'm going, oh man, No, I'm not making fun of people. I'm just saying that you realize when you're acting class, why people go to acting class for whatever reason. I just wanted to get, I enjoyed going to movies. I enjoyed entertainment. I got the opportunity. I want to take the advantage. But I realized if I'm going to do it, I don't want to disrespect it. I want to train for it like I did for a fight. And that's what I tell people. I trained because it was the right thing to do. Like anything, to be successful, you got to train. If you're going to go to school, you got to go to school somewhere, whether it's if to be a doctor, you got to go to that medical school, right? To be a lawyer, you got to go to law school. So to be a doctor, you got to go to acting school. But I realized that because after 3 years, when I go to meeting with the casting agent, they'd say, "Are you studying?" I go, "Oh yeah, man. No, yes and no. I'm not going to acting class, but I've been acting all my life on the streets. Best actors I know." Isn't that cute? Yeah, isn't that cute? They don't take you serious. They think he's full of shit, right? So they go, "Oh man, So you realize nobody takes you serious. Well, there's a reason, because you ain't taking it serious. I wasn't taking it serious, So that's why when I trained, so after a while, after I did some TV movies and I did a couple feature films and stuff, finally I did off-Broadway stage. I did off-Broadway stage in 1991. So now when I go in for auditions, they go, "Oh, so you're the fighter that's acting." I go, No. I'm the actor who fought. Right. I changed the narrative. No. I'm not the actor who's fighting. I was the fighter who's trying to act. I'm the fighter I'm the actor now who once fought. You know what I mean?
Yes. It's funny, Ray, is I got an email last week. There was a fight in Pennsylvania. I don't know if you heard about it, but these were actors who are fighters. And I do know one. But I'll send it to you when I get the videos of them. It's pretty interesting,
They started celebrity boxing and stuff, and I did commentary for that, like it was a joke to me, but I had bad fun with it. But I felt bad because a lot of these guys thought it was going to go in and just be fun, and when they go put these guys weren't ready for that stuff, man.
No. Yeah, boxing. I tell football kids, because I'm also a football coach in Florida. Boxing is you got to understand, son. It's violent. I'm trying to hurt you. Yeah. It's not I tackle you and we help each other up. I'm trying to put you to sleep. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Well, what's the old saying? You don't play boxing.
Right.
You play football, basketball, baseball. You don't play boxing.
No.
So I think when I talk to young kids and I go, someone say, "Ray, talk to Billy. Billy wants to be a fighter. Talk to my son." I said, "Young man, why do you want to be a fighter?" And they go, I want to be famous. I said, "Yeah, no kidding." I said, "Let me tell you something. It lasts about 10 minutes, if that. Go to school, get your education."
Yes, sir.
I want to meet girls. I said, "No kid. Get a personality. How's that? Try that."
Right on.
Here's my favorite. They go, "To make money." I said, "Yeah, go get a job. Go to school, get a job." I said, because let me give you a statistic. 10% of fighters make money. 10% of that 10%, meaning 1% overall, can sustain a living off of just what they make in the ring without having a second job.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Son, go to school.
Yeah.
Again, for me, my whole construct of fight was to win that title for my father. My father, most people know he signed to fight for the world title in February of 1942. He got drafted in January of 42. Huh. He had already fought the world champion in a non-title fight and beat him, which got him the rematch. So, and they wouldn't let him get opportunity for training to fight for the title. I said, "I want to defend my country." He said, "I'll give all my money to the Army Relief Fund," which was crying for money. He said, they said, "We don't want your money. We want you." Yeah. So my father went in and became a frontline infantryman. Frontline means you and the enemy. Ain't nobody in between. Right. And other than he got shot up in a battle of Metz. Other than the Battle of the Bulge, the Battle of Metz in France was one of the most destructive wars. It was probably the most destructive war in the European theater of operation. Right. And he was left for dead. He had shrapnel because he got hit by a motor shell. But eventually, he was in a hospital for 13 months. They said he'd never live because he lost so much blood. He got through that. They said he'll never walk. He has so much shrapnel throughout his body. Yeah. Eventually, he came back. They said he'll never fight again. He certainly came back and he fought. But he went in the number one lightweight contender in the world. Came out of middleweight. Wow.
That's called the greatest generation, Ray.
Right. But they were. Yeah. But he fought as a middleweight, 5'2" middleweight. But here's what they're proud of. My father was 5'2". My father was 5', but he was this wide. He was 5'2" wide. He was shorter. But one thing I'm proud of my father, he had over 100 fights, but he was never knocked out or stopped ever, as an amateur or pro. Never knocked out or stopped. But the greatest, even as later on when he came middleweight, some of the biggest punchers, and that's one thing I tell me. He was never knocked out or stopped. He lost, it was only by decision. My father's final record was 55-12-3. 55 wins, 12 losses, and 3 draws. But he's fighting all the top guys. But at that time, you had to.
No dodging. No dodging.
So it was a different generation. I was 20 when I got a title fight, but it was a different generation, different times.
Ray, so the career's done, and you're very successful living in Youngstown. But I if you could just share with us, you got a little wine business.
I got a wine and bourbon business. So I started the wine business first, 2009. I'm a teetotaler. I drink wine. Billy, people say I drink wine. It's food. Wine is food. It enhances the meals. So I don't drink wine just to drink wine. I drink wine with my food. If I'm not eating, I'm not drinking wine. But so I became, being of my Italian descent, of course, I became a wine enthusiast. And when I was living in LA, I got to know a guy, Piero Salvaggio. He was the owner of Valentino's restaurant in Santa Monica, and I used to frequent that quite a bit. And I became friends with him, and he was the foremost sommelier worldwide. And I used to talk to him about wines, and he helped me, taught me about the grapes and this and that. So when I got an opportunity, I was approached by a company about doing my own wine, a celebrity brand wine. I said, yeah, I'm interested, but I got to have the input. I said, I don't give my name to nothing. I don't have the direct, still to this day, like you said, you protect your name. Put your name on something that goes belly up, then, well, it ain't the company, it's you, right? So he taught me about, so I was my recipe for the wine. And at first I did a cab, then I did a Pinot, and then now it's a blend. It's a red blend, and it's my recipe. And it's very successful. We're not as big as we want. We're out in Northeast Ohio. We're starting to get out in other places. But we've done very successful with it. But I wanted to grow, and we're looking to do that.
Good for you.
Then I was approached in 2016 about doing 2015.
Right.
Because it came out in 2016, about doing a bourbon. And I go, I'm a teetotaler. I'm a wine guy. And I'm big on mixed drinks. I have a mixed drink. It's usually a vodka, cranberry, something light, or some girly drink, with the little umbrella. That's what fruity drinks. But I said, but I do like bourbon, because I said after my fights, we drink, have a cigar with a glass of bourbon, because it's a sign of success. Bourbon is a drink of success. So I said, yeah, but again, I have to have the input. So we up to Cleveland whiskey, downtown Cleveland, and we went and had this bourbon, drinking. But Billy, after 2-3 bourbons, what's the difference? They all start tasting the same.
Right.
And now I'm getting a little shine going on, going, man, And finally I seen underneath the desk, it said maple barrel bourbon. I said, what about that one? And the father and son, they looked at each other. They go, well, we got to just make that for ourselves. I said, will that be a problem? They go, well, no, not for us. So we did a taste. I go, this is the one, for 2 reasons. One, it was delicious. It had a little mapley taste. It was bourbon that was oak aged in maple syrup barrels. So just a hint of maple syrup. But the other reason is you got to have a hook, and that's the hook.
Right
on. Since then, we won a bronze medal at the World Spirit Competition in 2017. 2020, we won a double gold. They give you a certificate amongst the finest products in the world. And then in 2024, last year, we won another double gold. It's a blind taste test from all over the world. They come, and we won double. So what does that mean? You know what I mean, Billy? It means this. If the Rolling Stones are playing in downtown Youngstown and nobody knows, what does that mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything. It's not good. So I got a double goal, but we're out through Northeast Ohio, but now we're starting to expand. Talk with Nevada. I've been trying to get Nevada, but since COVID, they've been shut. They're hard to get in anywhere. We thought we were in New York. We didn't, at the last minute they changed it. We're very close to getting in PA. Now, if we get into PA, that's a coup because PA is the hardest state to get into. But what I'm saying is, we got a double gold. We got a double gold World Spirit Competition, double gold winner, and so we're gonna get it somewhere. So it's a lifestyle brand. But also, I have a wine, bourbon, and I know you like good cigar. I've had a cigar company since 1994.
Okay.
So so we have a cigar company, and it goes nationwide, and it's still good. I mean, it's fun. It's a fun lifestyle company. I mean, you make a little money, but you ain't gonna make no money. You can retire off it. It's just fun.
You know what? And it's so important because we're here for a good time, not a long time.
That's for sure.
So Ray is not just, ladies and gentlemen, just not a world champion. He's a world connoisseur of bourbon,
wine, and cigars.
Cigars.
Billy, here's what I tell people. When I talk, a lot of times I go to business school, like business schools or at the college, the business course. And the first thing I tell kids, so here's and I've spoken to 3 different high school commencement speeches, none of them my own. I've been invited to my own class, but 3 different high schools. Here's my message to everyone. And when I speak to business classes, have no fallback plan. No fallback plan, no backup plan, nothing. And look at you, and school counselors hate to hear it. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Because I said, I was taught. My father taught me. I taught my kids this. I was taught, you have a fallback plan, you're going to fall back. You have a backup plan, you're going to back up. When failure is no option, when failure is not an option, you will succeed. And I tell that to my kids. And I tell these kids, do not have a fallback. Because so once I had a school counselor tell me, well, Mr. Mancini, I think you're doing a disservice. Because my son, when he was going through his graduating, you got to go through the whole thing and meet with the counselor. And he asked my son Leonardo, after we got brain injury, well, what are you going to do now that you're not going to play sports? He goes, I don't know, but I'll figure it out. What's your backup plan? I said, I don't have one. My father taught me not to have one.
Yeah.
The guy looked at me and said, Mr. Mancini, I think you're doing a disservice. I said, no, you're doing a disservice to my son. You are. You're basically telling my son that no matter what he chooses to do, he's going to fail. So have a backup. How stupid is that? You're doing a disservice to all these kids. You tell that. Because you got to tell these kids, you got to be a builder of men, not a breaker of men.
Yes.
You're supposed to build them up, not break them down. You got to encourage them, not discourage them. So you tell them, whatever you choose, you fight with your heart and soul to make it successful. If it doesn't happen, you know what I told my son? If it doesn't happen, I tell my son, he said, my children will figure it out. I have enough confidence in them; they will figure it out. Like if I wasn't successful, I would have figured it out.
You know, Ray, let me tell you this. This is kind of interesting. When I told my friends and my family that I'm going to LA, I'm going to be an actor.
You're crazy. You're out of your mind.
Yeah.
You're not gonna do it. Yeah.
And I said, that's what I'm going to do. And they said, well, you have a backup plan, this, that. I said, I'm going to Hollywood. And if I don't make it, I didn't make it because I wasn't talented or I didn't have the opportunity. Just time ran out because I wasn't going to give up until I was successful. It's kind of what you're saying. Yeah. Ray, this has been awesome. You're one more other thing, Ray. You forgot one thing, and you don't forget anything. I was on Ray's radio show.
Yes, the Boom Boom Room.
The Boom Boom Room in Youngstown. Give them the call letters, Ray.
Yes, if you listen, you can listen on Spotify and Apple. Oh, and better yet, just go to my website, www.boomboommancini.com. If you go in there, you click on, you get every show. If you go on my radio, you get every show I've had, and your show was only a couple of shows ago. People click on that and hear the show. So, so www.boomboommancini, not Ray Boom Man, just boomboommancini.com, and you can see. And you want some swag? I got there's a store, you can buy T-shirts. You can buy you can do the bourbon, you can do the wine, and you can do cigars. Oh, we're carpetbaggers. We sell everything.
I think, hey, this is the first time I've ever said, I think Ray Mancini, that's his second best trait but his first is a businessman.
Billy, you know what? People say you try business. Billy, funny you just said that. Seriously, you know what I hear people? Well, what are you doing? I said, but you're not doing everything. But your bourbon is not nationwide. Your wine's not nationwide. I go, yeah. Well, I said, let me tell you something. So if it ain't happen in 10 minutes, it don't happen, right? For people, most people, if things don't happen in 10 minutes, they ain't happening. I said, we're out there. We're doing the grind. It will. People know about it. People, we have online. People can buy online. So you have business. But one thing I've learned, Billy, I'm sure about you, especially around the Youngstown, Northeast Ohio, where if things don't happen in 10 minutes, it must not be happening. People don't want to wait they don't want to wait 5 weeks. 5 years, 5 months, 5 years. Oh, hell no. I got no if it don't happen, you ain't gonna succeed. That's the stupidest thing. These people are dumb as hell.
Right. There's an old adage, Ray. It's a cartoon character. The cartoon character is praying to God, God, hurry up and give me patience. They can't even wait for patience. You know what I'm saying? So I get that. And I also will say that I think it's awesome that you speak to young people, but we got to teach young folks that if you believe, you can achieve. It takes a minute or two.
Yeah, you got to believe. You got to try. If you can conceive it, you can believe it, you can achieve it.
Right? There you go.
But I tell people, if it doesn't happen in 10 minutes, no backup. Because if you have a backup plan, you're going to fall back. You're going to back up. No fallback plan because you're setting yourselves up to fail. Failure is not an option.
There's an old adage, and then people don't plan to fail; they fail to plan.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, exactly. Ray, I appreciate you. This is the Billy Huffsey podcast.
Thank you,
my good friend.
Thank you,
Ray Boom Boom Mancini.
I gotta do part 2. Have me back for part 2.
All right, you're coming back. I love you, buddy.